Hi, my name is Brian Klasner. This is my YouTube video based on debunking myths and neuroscience and education and the application that the two can have with one another. I am a history teacher at Eastside High School. I'm part of Big Picture Academy, and this is in the New Jersey School District of Newark. Over the last 2 weeks, I've read about how people learn. Part of looking at this issue is the role of cognitive science and brain-based learning in the classroom. After reading the materials for this week and participating in discussions about applications of these ideas to the classroom, in this assignment I will compare my own understandings of the pros and cons with research on myths about this kind of learning. The myth that I chose to be debunked was multitasking. And I cannot explain to you how many times I've had students state, oh please let us use our phones, I can do this assignment and have my phone out. And of course, any strong teacher will know that it's a slippery slope that the students, an assignment that would take 30 minutes, now it goes to about an hour, 50 minutes. Social media and of course many other distractions. And the same thing needs to be applied to how social media can be a distraction. You can't multitask and do work and search Facebook at the same time, as the same as if you have multiple assignments to do in the classroom. And I'll get more into this later. This focus on the relevance of neuroscience in the classroom has been an overarching theme in general for this week within class. The article Neuroscience for Educators focused on the importance that neuroscientists and educators' relationship should be much closer, and the benefits that especially neuroscience can offer for educators. I will delve into that later, but I want to touch upon the neuroscientist's conclusion in reference to our first comments about multitasking. First, we all multitask, and in many professions it appears they are multitasking as well. So let's look at neuroscientist Levitin's conclusion that we are actually fracturing everything we do into little bits. So let's hear from him for just a moment.
You end up fractionating your attention into little bits and pieces, not really engaging fully in any one thing. All that switching across tasks comes with a neurobiological cost. It depletes resources. So after an hour or two of attempting to multitask, if we find that we're tired and we can't focus, it's because those very neurochemicals we needed to focus are now gone. There are some jobs.
Now, what Levitin is referencing there with the neurochemicals is that just like when you run, when you go to the gym, you use energy, you need to rebuild that energy. You cannot just go and run after 17 miles, maybe some can, I don't know, not myself, but after a long gym session, I need to rest and relax. Same thing goes on with your brain. And if you use up all your neurochemicals, which is our brain energy, then you will not be able to, of course, continue the tasks that you were attempting to do. Which he's referencing in multitasking, that in reality, and this neurochemical is, of course, serotonin, dopamine, everything that you need to keep pushing yourself and, of course, your body. So he continues to talk about how we are doing this rapid switching. It's not multitasking what's going on, it's actually rapid switching, and that each task that you're trying to complete is in a different part of your brain, and with different start times and different stop times. Now, as we take a look at some professions that, we would have to say you need to be a multitasker. I'll use one reference from Levitin's video, is his reference to air traffic controllers. They're actually mandated that every hour or so of work, they have to take a 15-minute break to rebuild those neurochemicals, because their job is so important and there's so many different aspects of it that they literally are sent out, told to leave and to do something else and completely unplug from the job. Now, until he says we can, do this multitasking, maybe our brain develops in the next 1,000 years. He states that to stay safe, for a few hours a day, we need to relax and rebuild those neurochemicals, because multitasking is false. It is simply us placing different progress or tasks in different part of our brains, and we are just using up the neurochemicals instead of focusing on one task and one problem to complete then moving on to the next one is the most beneficial for our brains. Now, Levitin states we need to create strategies when it comes to focusing and completing tasks, and I immediately saw a connection between Carey's writings about how these strategies have been implemented into the classroom and my writings and reflections from prior. So, school is a long day, where teachers require the most out of their students before sending them home to only do more work. Teachers constantly are attempting to find better ways to ensure students are cognitively analyzing and synthesizing the information being given to them. So Carey mentions a study done by Lewin surrounding the ability of a person to remember everything needed until the job was over. This is on page 136 of the book. The study discovered people remembered 90% more of the small jobs they hadn't finished. Page 137. These findings are strange if implemented into education because it literally states a teacher will do the most ridiculous thing ever and actually stop learning from taking place so that the students will recall it better in the classroom. The book does not answer the question around the morality of the study occurring in the classroom, but the implications alone are mind-boggling. That to ensure a student remembers something, they literally stop them so that they feel like the progress has never been completed, and that's always in their brain. This study is very, very interesting, especially when it comes to multitasking, because in multitasking you complete one task and move on to the next. But in Carey, his study, he realized that once you complete something, and as teachers we know, you forget, you move on. So how do we have students remember things? You would actually stop them prior to the final completion so that they don't cognitively think that they have completed that task yet, and it remains in there. Another Carey study that I thought was relevant in general to this myth is about somatic memories, and how these are not memorized facts, but instead information we recall through associations. So those truly inspiring teachers, the ones you always remember, instilled some kind of love in the subject, these are usually not conventional, and what they'll do is they put experiences and instead of repetition when it comes to understanding and remembering facts. I made a comment that even a distraction in one of our discussion pages, I made even a distraction like a student interfering with a class that came from another room, started dancing the hallway, causing all the students to laugh. Now, whatever topic I was teaching that day, I simply related to, remember the dancing student, and I want to say about 90% of my students got those questions correct on the test because they simply remembered and made the reference to the dancing student and to the topic that they were learning. Now, this of course is not them multitasking, this is them using different skills to remember and understand this information. This is what I believe our professor was stating as what we can do instead of multitasking. So these are points that I pulled out from Carey that I think really hit that final comment from him the best. Now, unfortunately, teachers in my experience are not taught about cognitive science and brain-based learning. The data, though, is out there about how professional development can be impacted by this work, and how ideas get from neuroscience researchers to teachers. And in general, the only way for it to get to teachers is curiosity. Especially in my district, there are no PDs, professional developments about neuroscience or about how teachers can learn more about neuroscience and the connections to education. It is what it is. But in the article for Neuroscience for Educators, teachers in school districts may waste time and money pursuing so-called brain-based interventions that lack any firm base of research. So even though we're searching for the best way to implement and to teach students, we might be looking in the wrong place, where the answer could be right here. There have been, of course, critiques of this neuroscience education. One, John Burroughs stated, much of the research is incomplete. It says that critical periods and the effects of the environment and the effect on the brain in all these developments and all these studies has been mostly done on animals. So how can we say that this is really the concrete info if it's done on animals? Nonetheless, studies show that neuroeducation is improving, and up to 5 leading schools, including Harvard, provide neuroscience and education. New technology allows brain imaging, which will map the anatomy of reading and mathematics to correlate individual differences in brain structure and function. This could enhance our ability to accurately assess general ed students and even more importantly, special needs students and how to structure their learning environment. We need to rely on the experts like Leviton, who use research and data to debunk a myth that many teachers might just assume their students can do. As a student myself, I can recall teachers in one class giving us reading assignments, another teacher giving a project, and another teacher giving a writing assignment all on the same day for homework due the next day. I don't know how I was supposed to, organize all that without multitasking. Of course, multitasking is not real. Even though this is a relative new science, there is enough evidence cited in this article to attest that it could help teachers from falling prey to brain-based practices. Eventually, the hope is teachers will use this research to better understand the brains of their students and in turn create a better learning experience. As Carrie stated, we'll take what we can get, and this could be something that could absolutely lead to a better learning experience for the students, and we'll take what we can get. Thank you so much. My references are attached to the link on this YouTube page, and have a great day.